What's going on? Wait a second. Why is it doing this? Oh, this is for yesterday. Got it. Okay. That freaked me out for half a second. So today is Thursday. We do the under 1,000 on Wednesdays, the over 1,000 on Thursday. And maybe kind of arbitrary. Maybe I should move it up to 1,200 or something. In any case, there wasn't that many yesterday. So we have, oh, boss, are you, you're hidden. You're hidden, Bows. Where are you, buddy? Let's see if we can do this. Oh, Christ. Yeah. Hold on. Cancel. No one can see you, man. They want your pretty face. I go. Oh, man. What is going on here? Okay. Kraai, you're going to have to figure this out. I don't understand. I don't understand. So I go, wait. I know why. I know why. I know why this happened, Bows. Genius is here. Genius is back. There he is. The genius. Okay, so as we were saying, we have a bunch of people to cover for the 1,000 plus here. And let's get to it. So I am working with a slight, let's call it a new technology to see all the chats in one place. Will I be a genius about it? Good question. I don't know. All right. Bunny E World, thank you for subscribing. We need some subscribers in this video game. This video game. So, first up, we got Dr. Otakon, who has graduated multiple times. And he says, was waiting for my Lichess classical rating to get out of provisional and stabilize for a bit. Finally played my first OTB this weekend, which showed me that I can at least hang with the 10-year-olds. Nice. Okay, Dr. Otakon. By the way, great progress. This dude is working. He's really doing it. It's been going on. You know, Swiss Adult Improver. I remember the name, channel them were cool. So doing really great. Lichess. And, you know, big step with the OTB. So that is great. All right. Let's take a look around clubs. European. Maybe, Dr. Otakon, channel them were cool. Maybe you could do a Swiss club, dude. Maybe you could create a Swiss club. I want to know what other Swiss people we got going on. I lived in Europe for a while, but I was always too poor. I was too poor to go to Switzerland, man. Too poor. All right. So to achieve this amazing milestone, Channelum did 70 hours and loads of work. One thing, we actually had a discussion about the fact that per time spent, you can actually gain more endgame points. And Kostya shot me down. He was like, no, it's important. They need to do it. Boss, I'm just saying maybe reduce the amount of points they get for the end game. You know? In any case, this looks really good. Like, we click this. I mean, dude is doing the good work. All right. Tactics. Looking good. 599. All right. This is looking great. Let's see if we get a game going on here. And, dude has done a lot of games, and this, by the way, is kind of what you would expect from a date played and a date published. A lot of people are like playing it and annotating it on the same day. Can we just observe how many times Dr. Otakon has graduated? 6 times, my friend. That's 600 points. 600 points. You need about 10 days, you know, to do the work, have it be thinking about it, you know, that kind of thing. This is cool, of course, because we have a OTB game. Now you can see we have comments here. This is the Mad Barber giving us, I can make a comment too. So this is a new feature of the dojo. This is played in Zurich, the same place as Zurich 1953. All right, and this is a 10-year-old. All right, here we go. Okay, bishop d7. Now, a couple things. Opponent is not moving too fast. What I want to say is I don't want you studying openings, but once you hit about 1,200, 1,300, that's the time to maybe like dial in this. And the correctamundo move here is c takes, but you actually seem to have a whole plan in mind here too. Fine. This is interesting. That was very interesting. All right, so black goes back. And then you talk about a3 being unnecessary and maybe knight b3. So one feature of this position that we should talk about is knight d2 makes sense if we know they're going to take. But if we don't know they're going to take and they go back, well, maybe it's not so hot. Maybe it's not so hot. If we're determined to do this, then maybe something like snip, snop, queen e2, and knight d2 to f3. That would be a reasonable form of development. The most basic move we can make here, honestly, is just knight c3. Just bring our people out. You know, just bring them out. We'll like you said, we gambited a pawn to bring all our people out. Okay, so there's a bunch of theory we could talk about, but I'm not going to because we're not there yet. Dr. Otacon, we're not there yet. So boom, boom, boom. A3, I actually have some sympathy with this move because knight b3, not the greatest. Now, we do want you to see what you do next move. Let's see how it goes. Okay, and I want you to actually play either b4 or rook e1 here. Good move. Okay, this is really interesting. Okay, the kid plays a6, bishop b2. Very nice. Okay, knight g6, knight b3. And I just want to say, I think you have a very interesting position here. Very interesting. Let's just talk about some obvious things. This is your strong point. And a bummer for black now is that as long as that pawn is there, you will be able to keep that king side in a bind, right? So I like your position a lot. Queen c7, a little weird, right? A little weird. Rook c1. Now, one of the things I want you to notice about a kid like this, anybody at this level, honestly, is they don't appreciate time, right? So even knight c6, I thought, by the way, the knight c6 move was not miserable only because by avoiding the trade here, by going back, he's hurt your development, right? So, but already it didn't feel like maybe he understood what the crime might be. And then here, the queen is not clear that belongs there. Okay, you play rook c1, good. Good move. Castles. Okay. Now, so now we have a question mark of how you should play. The goal in this position should be h4, h5. This move will dislodge that knight and move it away from the center. So could we play h4? I think so. Bishop takes, bishop takes. We're going to win the bishop. If knight takes, then we have knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes, and we're winning the bishop. So, interesting stuff. Another move, if you were gonna play this move this night, I think that would be the good move instead of h4. Knight c5. Yeah, but let's just leave your move. You're bringing it in, okay. Rook c8, and then boom. Well, I have some sympathy with what you're doing. And I don't know, why aren't they taking with the bishop? No one knows. Thank you very much. Good. Okay, now, boom. Okay. Good. Oh, you're killing this kid. Oh, very nice. And bishop c5. And we're going to commend you on this move because it's important to see that that dark square bishop is black's best piece. Boom, boom. So now you are strategically winning. Good move. Look at your dark square control. Look at this misery here. And now knight f4. By the way, let's look at the times here. You know, pretty good. So, yeah, something happened here. Maybe both sides felt it was obvious. We'll see if it's in fact obvious. Yeah. All right, this is pretty good. So, first long thing from my opponent who started to get visibly frustrated at this point. In the end, he played a one mover that didn't accomplish much of anything. So what will be a challenge for a kid like this, anybody really, is what do I do? What do I do? And the thing that they need to realize is something needs to happen for the bishop on d7. We just can't leave it there forever. So by the way, I want to say rook c3 was a fine looking move, but we should by all means consider that bad boy there. We should at least think about it because that's touching some stuff. The question would be maybe rook a5 and then debating how it looks from there. But we need to analyze that one. Anyways, black needs to think about the bishop. I think this is an ugly looking move, but black should think about it. And then we can still think about b5. And, you know, if he takes, there's this kind of stuff. I don't know if bishop c8 is the right move, but that's the kind of thing they need to start thinking about. They need to think about f6 and f5 to try to bring the bishop in. Those are all very dangerous moves for black. But that's the kind of thing that they need to be thinking about. If you don't like knight a4, you should tell us what you think would be better. The reason, to me, it's a little suspicious is that if it doesn't do anything, it's not helping in the fight for this square, which is ultimately like the big one. And I know that might seem anti-intuitive the first time you hear it. Beautiful move. Beautiful. We could also play h4. Yeah, there we go, buddy. This is a great game. And then the kid dramatically weakens the dark squares. The lights, yeah, the dark squares. Okay, now they deserve death. Before we were just winning strategically, now they deserve death. This is a waste of a move. So, just as in the opening, where we're trying to be religious about getting our pieces involved, here we need to think, oh, it's about time. We need to do something here. So, you're winning on both the queen side and the king side, right? You win on both. Okay, so somebody chat said, Blibup says, regretting playing the French. Playing the French would be something. French is fine, nothing wrong with the French. So let's think about a plan here. And what I encourage you to think about is when you do the game analysis, right? That's the time to think about plans. So one terribly mean thing we could do is just take this and then plant the knight on one of those squares. That's a thing. We would maybe like more than that though, right? Maybe we want more than that. b5 looks very strong, but we just need to calculate rook a5 after that. And your move, well, you end up taking on g6 anyway. a nice move you could do, actually, look, is you don't play knight d4 until you take. But that knight's a victim, and so really knight d4 now is a nice move, because on knight e5 you just give him the whack, you know. Kraai was wrong about that, actually. Look, that's why I was wrong. Because see, whack, 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 bam! And then I'm the bonehead all of a sudden, huh? See? It's easy for these things to fall apart. Yeah. Okay. Let's look what you did. Boom. Okay. Okay. Bam! Nice move. Now, something I remember what I said? I said somewhere around here, the players started moving too quickly. Okay. Now, we are at the technical phase of this game. You got 21 minutes left. There's no way this kid should survive, right? So here's where I want to show you something. Yeah, it's funny you're talking about Tausch machine, dude. What I want to show you is when you annotate the game. See, this happens all over the dojo. Here we get to the end game, and then we're getting a bunch of moves that aren't described in what's going on. Okay, so a good thing to do is to talk about what we think should be happening, right? What do we think should be happening? First thing notice is this guy can barely move. It's not just that he's down the exchange. This homeboy, he can barely move his pieces, right? So this move I want, the next thing I want you to see is the first principle in any endgame, in any position really, but the endgame in particular, is we want to focus on active pieces, okay? So rook a1, I don't like. Passive. Are we going to play a4? No, right? So what do we want to do? Here, here. Then what do we want to do? We want to trade. We'd love to trade off the rook. Notice, you know, there's a bunch of people talking about diversity out there, diversity being a great thing. It might be a great thing, but here it's really a great thing because the bishop and the rook do different things. Our rooks do the same thing. Let's trade off the rook bows. So that would be a plan. That would be my first order of business. If we can, to trade off that rook. And also, of course, by putting my rook on the c file, I get ready for the business, which is arguably even more deadly, but I'm just so happy to trade off the rook, you know. All right, here we go. Okay. Okay, they push. Now, this push is not going to work because that bishop is toast, right? Good move. Really good. I'm glad it feels like you understood. Maybe you just wanted to trade, but it's definitely the right thing to do is to do that. Okay, king e2, fine. This is not going to work, but it's at least an attempt from your young opponent. Now you played king d2. Just take the pawn, boss. He's giving you the pawn. Take the pawn. Or if you're going to do or king d3. Okay, you're still winning. He's gone loco. How come we didn't win this game? Wait, how did we not win this game? Now, the easy way here is just to take rook takes f7. That's the old school way. Okay, how did this happen? Let's just keep going. Oh, no! No! Okay, let me talk about this. Your endgame technique, I thought for a moment your endgame technique was going to be poor. Your endgame technique was fine. But the reason this happened is you were playing too fast at the end. You can see it here, right? You're barely spending any time. You got loads of time. I think at the beginning, too, you got 30-second increment. So, dude, it's a luxury. It's a luxury. Why are you doing it, though? Because everything seems obvious, and it kind of is, but also you're nervous. You're like, oh my God, I got this kid on the rope. I'm going to kill this kid. And you have to learn from the game analysis, right? Game analysis is not just about chess. It's about learning who you are, what's going on, and honestly, your problems are the same as other people's problems, right? So you got to slow it down and just be like, bows, I could take 1 minute to move if I want. And I'm just going to just take it easy. It's fine. And everybody does it. You're going to have somebody do this king e6 thing to you. All right? Okay. So that was a really long one. That was Dr. Otto Kong. Congratulations. Now we have Mindset by Dave. The most helpful thing so far has been having structure. I've done virtually 0 non-dojo activities since I had this roadmap. It also really pushed me to annotate my games. Great. Okay, I'm loving it. So, let's just see over here. And Mindset by Dave. I kind of like that name. Okay. 42. You're a young man, Dave. You're a young man. So, 1108. He's made it. Look at that nice curve. Clubs. European, UK, ADHD. Nice. So, activity. 1000. So, that's good work. That's good work, Dave. That's simply a lot of work getting done. Let's click around just a touch. Tactics. Oh, it's all looking good. Okay. That's great. All right, Dave, let's see if we can get a game. We got loads of games. This one fairly recent. All right, here we go. Fine. 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 Yeah. Now you're talking about the opening. I don't want to hear it. If you want to talk about the opening, you're not ready yet, Bows. It's not time. Fine. We're just playing moves. That's all we're doing. Weird. Maybe. Maybe. 95. Good. Actually, before I call that good, E5 probably we can talk about. Okay. Great move. Rook C, Queen D4. Queen D4 is obviously suspicious, right? Obviously suspicious. B6. Suspicious. Queen C7. F4. Bam, good move. Bam, good move. You're killing him. Good move. No one understands. Boom. I love it too. I love it too. Dave, what a nice position. Toast, bishop over here. Oh, man, you're killing this guy. All right. Let's see how you played. Good move. I was hoping you'd do that. Just keep that bishop bottled down. Thank you. That doesn't do anything. Knight F6 now. You have other moves too. Fine. 94 now. Ah, it's simple chess. Oh, you could take it if you want it. Bang. All right, so now we're going to see your endgame skills. Knight G3. Okay, this is the first move I'm a little bit, maybe I don't like it too much. So bear in mind, the guy can't do anything, right? What we need to do is we need to improve our position. Who needs to be improved? The bows. The bows needs to be improved. Your knight, think about it. He's going to defend against your one mover, right? And he does so actually in a really wrong way. But he's making your move look good. Okay, I'll tell you. I didn't like it because after King F2, what are you going to do? He's going to defend his business. So this is a one-move threat. He doesn't see it. Bang! Thank you very much. Let's go back home. Oh, man, that's an ugly bishop. Let's go back home. There we go. We're going to take another one. The immortal knight. We could have taken on C3 too. King G5 is a little frisky. Oh, we're just going all in. Oh, man. Very nice game. Very nice game. Okay. So that one mindset by Dave was really good, man. Yeah, you're going to get... That was just good chess. That was just good chess. Yeah, so mindset, dude, this is it. The work is happening. Oh, my God. The hospital's on fire. Okay, so well done, mindset. Hopefully we're going to see you again. You know, that was a lot of work. So congratulations. Next up, we have a dude who was in the beginnings of the dojo, and his name is like Angry, I think it's Tangerine, might be an orange. In any case, you know, I think he's in South Africa, and they talk in the Afrikaans over there. And he went away for a longest time. We don't know. We were like, where did the Angry Orange go? Well, we didn't know. We know he went away. So notice I didn't have the graduation icons. I didn't hear back about how to get them, so I thought I'd try and enforce them via the system. Graduated in 1.0. Okay, let's check it out. 1.0, man, it was just, our beginnings were modest, my friends. Our beginnings were modest. After some soul searching, I came back to the dojo with a different focus. Fun. It's not my job. Then what's the point of playing if you're not having fun? An input rather than results. Okay, great. So, dude is at 1170. Is there a South African club? Dojo Down Under. Oh, okay, so we got Down Under, and he's just Southern Hemisphere, you know, Southern Hemisphere down there. Activity, a lot of work has been done in this one. I think he, you know, yeah, he graduated back in the day. He graduated back in the day. As you can see, though, a lot of work is being done by the Angry Orange, and I think probably, you know, when he left, this is the work he's done since he came back. All right, I'm going to try to, there we go. I was a 3-siren game boss, that's right. Okay, so let's see if Angry Orange has got a game. We got one. This was played fairly recently. So, trying to slow down, right? Ultra Slarkin gave some help. Now, by the way, it's one of the really cool things about the dojo that was an intent from the beginning. At the beginning, it wasn't really moving the way we wanted it to, but now it's starting to cook, where we have people doing this plus minus equals. So somebody above is going to help you if you're below you, and then someone above them is going to help them, and then, you know, you work together inside your cohort, which is your equal. And so Ultra Slarkin helped him out here, which is really cool. You can see Ultra Slarkin, some of his comments are over here. Okay, this is a 30, let's see, what do we got here? 30 plus 20, and here's the time graph. And right there we can see that the Angry Orange, well, we'll talk about it later, but yeah, it needs to slow down. And I've done videos on this. I yell at people all the time. It's not really your chess skill. It's about something else, right? And slowing down, I get it. I'm nervous too. It's hard when you're nervous, and you're just going to make an impulsive decision, though, if you aren't using your time. You've heard my rant before. Okay, fine. 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 Okay. So, right, like Bishop D3 is the aggressive repertoire for white. According to the dojo, Bishop E2 is fine. That's an interesting move. So he plays knight f5, and then we got this interesting variation. Boom, 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 boom. But this isn't it, because he can trade queen d1, right? So this doesn't work. Yeah. Yeah. See, it's funny, in the first game we had a mildly similar thing, but here it's no bueno, because when we take, the knight has no out without trading the queen. So your opponent gave you a break here, and you played here. Okay. A5. Okay. Takes, good move. And let's see what you wrote here. Positives. It didn't go down a pawn. I have the bishop pair, and black only has their sad bishop. Well said. Queen is not threatening b2 anymore. Negatives. I gave up a 3-move knight for a 1-move bishop, as well as a central pawn. Now, I just want to say, I think this position's amazing. Amazing. Both of you are moving like wild bandits. I have already spent more time thinking about this game than you guys spent up until this point. We will say it's a big deal that your opponent lost the dark square bishop. Lots of time. That looks like a hell of a good move. Yeah, and he played it quickly, but you know, I'm basically trapping the queen, so that's definitely correct. And then why aren't we playing c takes d4? Of course. You still have a nice position here, but why are we giving up a pawn? So now you went for the principled rook e1. Okay. I would say probably more to the point is either one of these moves. Because you played rook e1 to open the e file, right? Okay. Your opponent's been obsessed with that move. Makes no sense. Now we can play knight f5. Okay, by the way, what I like about what you're doing is, right, centralize. Maybe you don't know exactly what to do, but if you don't know, just bring your pieces to the middle and develop. Good. Okay. Weird. Okay, notice your knight was already there. Okay. Good. And now knight d6. Good job. Okay, I like it. I like it. And I think the annotation, rook d8, knight c8, small advantage white, makes sense to me. Some people will call that a big advantage, but either way, it's a good move. Now we're hurting them real bad. And now, oh, wait a second. Bishop e4, knight d5, and then c4. Basic tactics for the win. Now, let me stress. Let's look. You played bishop d3 in 0 seconds because you have 20, you know, so you just played it, dude. You just played it. So your chess improvement right now, Angry Orange, has nothing to do with chess learning. Yes, I mean, that'll help. But what you have to do is you have to slow down. And one of the things by going over the games and even seeing that another person saw c4 is you got to be like, yeah, they can find it. I can find it too, man. You know? Yeah, now black's getting a touch of play. That's a weird looking move. Doesn't bishop e4 end the game? Yeah. By the way, this is not a small advantage or clear advantage. That's just winning a piece. Yeah, so queen d5, massive blunder. a4. Notice, when you don't think, because you're not thinking here, that was like 5 seconds, 10 seconds. When you don't think, you're just going to be making reactive moves, right? So what does that mean? You see the queen going to a2. By the way, your opponent's not thinking either. This guy's not thinking at all. He's like, and when you don't think, what do? Let me explain. You're like, well, what's undefended? Let's attack it. Maybe my opponent won't see it. That's the extent of this person's thinking. You know, no. So then you're doing the same thing. You're like, oh, he wants to take my pawn. I better move it. All you have to do is slow down a second, and you're going to see bishop b4. Weird. Bishop b5 now, please. Okay. Thank you. Just a full rook. Thank you. It's got to be a good move. Got to be a good move. Got to be a good move. Did he resign? Finally. Finally. Okay, Angry Orange, so happy that you're back, dude. And like I said, it's very simple. You just need to slow down. That's it. It's not, there will be, like once you learn to slow down, then all kinds of other beautiful things will happen for your chess. Then there'll be other struggles, but your rating will go up a lot. Your skill level will go up a lot just by slowing down. Okay. Next up, we got Horsey Rampage. Hit a plateau October 23 and stumbled upon dojo videos on YouTube. Jesse's line, taste me. Okay. I then visited Dojo's website, which explained that the best approach was to play longer games. I subscribed for a month to give it a try. It was a revelation. I loved it. Oh, great. While I was playing Rapid 10-0, just moving up to 15-10 allowed me to gain 200 points in a month. This person needs to be working with the Angry Orange. Now, I even managed to find time to play 30-20. Over time, I noticed that my middle game is predominantly lacking, so I started at 1,000, 1,100 to ensure I have all the middle game and game concepts. I still have Morphe's book to finish, but I'll do that later. Thanks to the dojo. Okay, that's great. So, as suspected, Horsey Rampage, dude, people need to go where they belong. You do not belong in 11-12 Horsey Rampage. You belong up here. You belong up here in the 14-15 cohort. However, that being said, it's really cool that you have had this progress. Now, maybe if I had 6 daughters, I would just like, I might be a blitz addict too, man. You know, I'm just like, just let me fall into the world of blitz so I don't have to think about anything anymore. Okay. So this is great. Let's follow Horsey Rampage. First, we'll check out some clubs. That's a lot of daughters, man. Quebec, chess dads and moms. I got 1 daughter. That's enough. Oh, come on. She's fine, Kraai. Don't talk to her about it like that. Okay. So to get here, dude did 86 hours of work. Now, I encourage you to go to your correct cohort. All right, I give this speech all the time, but let me just say it. A lot of people have the same intuition you do, which is, I need to do the basics first. But the way the program is designed, it really is designed to meet you where you are at. And when you do sparring, for example, you want to be doing it in your cohort. And here, the Horsey Rampage is just going to be going little bunny foo-foo on all the people in the 11-1200 cohort. No, we don't want you roughing them up. Those are gentle souls. You need to go hang out with the 14-15. You know, yeah, it's like a fight with somebody your own size, buddy. You know, that's what that's where we're at on this. Charlie asks, how do you get games reviewed on stream? Well, I always review a game of the people who graduate, and then I have other game review shows. And so that's generally how it happens. You can also pay for a review. It's not that much. Like when you submit a game, there's a little thing. Would you like someone to review your game? So that's always an option too. All right. Horsey Rampage, let's look at a game. What's going on? Oh, he is a Quebecois. I think I said that right. Quebecois. Okay, fancy. Okay, and let's look at this little time graph. Look at that thing. Yeah, he gained time because he knew what was going on here. This is called the Budapest. E3, a little weird. Check to the Miserable King. Queen E7, maybe mildly better there. Okay. Bishop E2, castles. Queen C3, poor move. Okay. So the reason you could claim white is a little bit better here is because of knight C3 with this nice outpost square D5. Queen C3, however, negates that advantage. D6, good move. Queen F6. Okay, a little frisky. A little frisky. The Budapest players are always doing frisky stuff like this. Queen G6, thank you very much. Knight G3. So notice, white lost time, Didn't help with knight e4. Should have just castled or something. Bishop g4. Okay, you bring your people out. Rook d1. Poor. Now the king is out. Now we're going to hunt him. Right? Now it's time to hunt. Queen g4 wins a pawn. Let's see if you can find it. No. Zap. Zap. Looks hard to meet. Okay. Boom. That's not a bad move, though. Now, did you give him the zap? Check. Check. Nice. Now, b3. Rook c1 was his best response. He didn't find it. So in that case, I really want you to give a variation. Because, for example, I'm not sure how this is going to go down either after rook c1. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. And maybe we shouldn't even do this queen c4 thing. So give us a variation here about what you think is going on. Like I said, I don't know. I think it's complicated. You know, we got this position, for example. Here, it's a very angry rook. We have the angry orange and we have the angry rook. Maybe we can claim we're doing great here because our knight will be so massive when it lands here. When the pony lands. Okay, so blunder, good move. Doesn't make any sense. Good move, g6. I want to stress, great move, cutting the knight squares. Good move. Okay, now we want king g7. Good move. Now we can do a number of things. Okay. Now one thing about this f5 is we're actually encouraging him to go back to the square he should have been on in the first place. So as a prophylactic, I think it'd be nice. Not that kind of prophylactic. He might, all those daughters, buddy, you might need. In any case, with rook d8, knight c3, we want to play c6 when he gets there, right? But we can't play c6 until this pawn is defended. So now it's a little awkward for us. And now black is in a little trouble, but you solve your problems fantastically now. Knight c6, well done. Push him away. Okay. Okay, that's very true. I was going to play c6 and saw the fork. Knight c6, good move. Going for the trick, good move. Doesn't make any sense. Good move. Well, he's going to still knight d5 you. Okay. Now can we c6 him? Nice. Thank you. And now we're just d5 him. Or take, either one. Good move. Nice. So one of the things I want you to see about this game is your opponent has zero conception about a broader plan, and what they're doing is they're just like, what can I attack? What can I attack? What can I attack? And there's basically one move threats. And what I really like about what you did is you consolidated, and now the threats are dying off. That's just tricky. Let's just, fine. Fine. See, just one move tricks. That's all the guy's doing. Okay. Okay. Looking good, dude. Looking good. How about this? Now, that looks good. The knight c4 also looked really rough to me. Okay, but that's a nice move. This is really well played. That wasn't it. Bang. And then king c2 is the only move. And I assume like bam, bam, mate happened. Let's put it in there for him. Bam. Checkmate. Jacques, that was a great game, dude. That was a really good game. Yeah. And I really think that, you know, you're going to take it to the next level soon. I don't know how you're ever going to get... Maybe you can convince some of your daughters to go to the chess tournament with you, buddy. Maybe that's a thing. I can't get my daughter to go. It's not happening, dude. It's not happening. I've really tried. But you're playing a good game here. And I like that you're going to face a lot of these opponents at this level where they're just making superficial threats and you just have to deal with it. And that's a skill in itself, right? Like you said, you almost played c6. That's the only hope the guy had. And so, you know, consolidating and not letting him have anything for the win. Okay. Okay. So, let's do the next one. And next up we have DTV. I believe I initially joined the wrong cohort. Apologies. Okay, let's take a look. So it's a DTV. DTV is not moving at all. You're still in the wrong cohort, DTV. Come on, buddy. Get into the right cohort. We'll follow him here. UK here, done some work. Games. So DTV, go into the right cohort. Next up we have, is it Lane or is it a fancy Ian? I'd like to graduate from this cohort as my FIDE rating was confirmed this month at 1794. That's called the FIDE boost. I think I was in the wrong cohort to start off with, but didn't mind working through the site and some of the exercises. Frankly, I needed the refresher. Still work to do on endgames though. Playing through the classic games has been a joy, as well as the Chessable E4 Dojo repertoire. Thanks. Nice. It made me realize how much fun attacking is, and that playing around a defined pawn structure is very helpful. I like the plans. I need to do more about engaging now with the community and giving and receiving help from others. Well said. Okay. Now, one of the cool things is that 1300, by the way, it's like one of the things people yell at us about. They're like, Dojo says you shouldn't study openings. No, we're just saying there's a time and a place. So for, I don't know if it's Lane or Ian, when you get up to around 1300, 1400, now is the time where the program is going to start feeding you some hours of opening study. Not a whole lot, but, you know, some. The chess of my course, I'm happy you did it. It's a little bit, I would say, advanced for where you are now. It's not a terrible thing. It's fun that you enjoy it. But all I'm saying is right as we move up these cohorts, that's when we start introducing opening study, right? And we have a lot of people starting to actually to listen to us. And the main thing I really want to stress, I say it almost every show, is if you can learn to play principled moves, and the way you do that is not doing any opening study, you will be gaining an asset for your future chess development. And then when you do get to 1314, you will have some predilections for structures and all kinds of things. Maybe you, by osmosis, you have a couple names of the opening, but that'll be the time to start actually studying openings, right? Before that, your opponents are going to do weird moves. So it's not going to matter anyway. And we just want to play principled opening moves in response and learn how to do it, to get that ingrained in our chess soul. All right, speech over. Let's go take a look. I think it's Ian. I don't know. Aging chess player. That's I'm over here too, buddy. Let's follow the aging chess player. Trying to get back to where I was a few years ago. Not all bad though. Definitely appreciate the game much more now and its complexity. Now, if you guys didn't know, there's a huge FIDE boost that happened. I think that's what's going on with this player. And so it's confusing for everybody and the dojo with the FIDE boost. But let's take a look at what's going on here. We have clubs. UK, nice. Activity. And they were, see it, they went from 12th. They did a big old jump, man. They did a big old jump. All right, let's see if we got a game or two. So this, I think it's Ian. Let's check it out. And Ian is here in the chat. Nice. It's a fancy Ian, Scottish. Okay. So one fun thing already is this is part of the dojo recommendation. And then here, okay, Ian, here's a great illustration of what I'm talking about. There is a position where you play bishop d3. But it's definitely not now. So you're freaking out and you're also remembering something kind of incorrectly. So when you think about this position, right, from a principled point of view, I think what happened is you remembered that knight f3 was the right move here, correct? And then when they did this, you were like, oh, that bishop on b5 makes me real nervous, you know? But let's think about it from a principled perspective. What would the principled moves be? They would be castles or d3. That's it. There's no other moves. Or taking. That's it. That's all we got. Bishop d3 only makes sense if we, let's say we castled over here. Can we get a castle? And then they played a6. Then sure. Then we'll go back and do this weird move. Right? And then there's all these highfalutin plans that I developed in the course. But you can see you're not playing principled chess when you play bishop d3. You're just losing a tempo. They didn't even have to play a6. So this is what I mean by let the program tell you when to do the opening study. Bishop g7, castles, e6, knight takes, pawn takes, knight e2, knight e7, c3. So now you're down a tempo in the other line. And it is kind of cool that you remembered this whole thing. But notice that because black is up a tempo, now they're in time to hold the d4 square. And until they take, our bishop will not be free. So the loss of tempo was very important strategically. f4, and now I think a controversial move, d5. Okay, now I would definitely push e5 here because I need to tell black that they need to do something with this pawn. I desperately need them to take so that I can get this bishop out. Until the bishop is out, my game is awful. Pop, pop. c4, queen d6, a3. Okay, so notice this is taking a lot of time. a5, b3. I'm glad, however, that you're getting your bishop out. Good move. Good move by your opponent. f5. Okay. Now what's fun is I think you're kind of remembering some stuff in the course. And it is totally true that we want to move Federico the f-pawn to f5 if we can. The reason why all of this simply is not going to work, I'm such a spoiled sport or whatever you want to call it, is because your bishop isn't playing, right? It's dead. It's a dead weight. Okay, so now gf5 happened. And this is also the moment I would want to think about tactics for black. For example, could he waste you with e4 takes d3? The point is if bishop g7, he intermezzos you here. Then you say, Kraai, is it true? Because he takes. Oh, buddy, it's a little hot. But then black says, bang! Take that. I'll intermezzo you there, son. Okay, so we're not done yet, though. Bishop e4, d3, f6 maybe. And then maybe it goes like this. Takes. No, boss, this ain't going to work. I'm going to take your queen. That's a queen. So when we're positionally funky, it will often transpire that we get knocked by a move like this, right? And your opponent misses it. So pop, fine, okay, good move. Doesn't make any sense to me. And here I definitely want you to play d3. This was partly to play into its impending time trouble and avoid any unfortunate tricks. Looking piece activity, though, b2 is not the best square for the dark square bishop. Comp suggests plan of a4 and bishop a3, which seems reasonable. Unfortunately, I didn't even consider this at the time. I was focused on rules of the queen, rook, and queen. My intention with the queen was to put it on c2, keeping an eye on b3 and f5. Yeah, so let's talk about time here. I think a4 is weird. It's a weird computer move. And clearly, king h1, you're trying to deal with this, which is honestly kind of a dumb threat. Because think about it. let's say we could give black the move and be like, Bob, so you want to play d3? They might because they love checks, but that would free our terrible piece. So notice you're responding to something that's non-existent. That's not a real threat. I want to play d3 simply because I want the bishop to come back and do something. I want it to be part of the story of the world, right? Okay, so king h1, loss of time. Okay, a little weird. Queen c2, knight g6, looks weird. Notice they're giving you a lot of time, and now they gave you the f5 square. You own it now. Let's play d3. Okay, you're obsessed with the queen on c2. See, now you do it. Okay. You're looking good unless queen b3 happens with d6. So queen b3 and we're toast. Notice that that's a death pin. That often happens when we got that terrible piece over there. Good move. Thank you. Yeah. Now I think I'm just too slow to get the rook active. You're doing fine. Rook e8. You need to activate your bishop. Now you play queen e4. Okay, rook f6. Bishop g5. I want you to play bishop d2, but this is fine. You're doing fine. And now g4. My last chance to try and activate my rook in time, rook f1. Okay. I still think you're doing great. Yeah, you're doing fine. It's an interesting position. Good move. And now this deserves some kind of annotation here, because you go for it big time. You go for it big time, everybody. I don't know. So let's say maybe c5, but that's like we got to believe in ourselves then. Otherwise, we're just going to play rook c1 and bring our king in. I mean, by the way, I mean, maybe it works, but we got to calculate it out. Boom, boom, boom. And now you played b6. Okay, maybe that's the best. c4. Now rook c1 is definitely not it. Rook b1, 4, and c4 would have added some complications and more activity. Good. Notice it's not super, by the way, like, you know, not super easy for Mr. Black to deal with the problems you're setting. If we could get our king over here, well, we're in business. And now this is, I want you to really see that rook c1 is a crime against chess, because now you're passive. Oof, that's annoying. That's annoying. That's annoying. And now we're gone. Okay, so there we go. Lame. I hope that helped. And for you and the people watching, I want you to see that so much chess improvement can be encapsulated if you understand what's going on in this move. So you study some opening stuff and you remember this from a different position. This happens to GMs too, right? And instead of being just like, what is the principled move and castling, you start getting nervous about that bishop. You weren't nervous about it before because you remembered that knight f3 was the move, but now g6 happens, you're like, ah, gosh, that bishop's killing me. No, we're just going to take it. This is their strong piece. This is their strong piece. If he wants to trade, that's fine. They got one good piece. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But more importantly, like, no, we don't move the bishop to d3 unless we have to. All right, good. So next up, we got Jack. I think Jack has graduated a number of times. Yeah, Jack's crushing it. Look at this. Whoop. Yep. Clubs. UK. We got loads of people in UK. Activity. Boom, boom. Looking great. Looking really good. All right. Let's just go training plan for a second. 13, 14. That's what they did. That's the other way to kind of see what percentage of things that they did. Yeah. Okay. Games. Loads of games. All right, really well done with the game analysis. At least I say that before I look. I shouldn't. All right, it's a little sparse, but let's give it a look. E takes d5 exclam. Now, I want to stress this has a bad reputation because the romantics out there don't think it's cool. But I think it's fine. You're up a tempo, buddy. Fine. 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 Weird. The other reason we want to play bishop d3 instead of bishop e2 is because our rook wants to go here someday, and we want it here. So you're blocking your rook. Taking on f6 would definitely be a thing. Thank you. Bishop takes c6, definitely best. Now, what I want to suggest to you is that you were obsessed about keeping the bishop. But notice when you take with the knight, even if they correctly play bc, you're still losing a tempo. Whereas if you just take with the bishop, you don't lose any time, right? And what do we want to do? We want to do things like rook e1, knight d2. We want to develop our people. You're doing great. Yeah, your opponent's getting frisky over there. Probably not what they want to do, buddy. Now you talk about knight d3. Bishop g3 also looks pretty good. Knight d7. Let's bring our knight out. Good. The problem with knight b3 is exactly what you say, that the pawn is going to dominate it. Oh, I want you to bring the knight back. Okay. Weird, losing time. Good move. Okay, I like knight d3. Knight d3 looks stronger. b4, weird move. Queen b3. Okay. Okay. Good move. Passive. All right. So, one thing I gotta say, first of all, look at this, my friends. These people aren't thinking at all, buddy. These people aren't thinking at all, dog. They're done thinking. They don't want to think at all anymore. It's over. Yeah. So this is a very spicy position. Let's just talk about why this is interesting. The rooks are doing one thing over there on the a file, right? We have a great rook on c7. The question is, do I really want to do something nasty like knight c1? Maybe. And I like whether bishop f8 is the right move or not. I like the bishop f8's interesting. We don't really want to do it because we're blocking the f rook from coming over. So even rook fc1, what I'd be real interested in talking about. Okay, but boss, let's just say the obvious. You are an extreme example of somebody who's just blitzing, and what happens is you're playing online with people who are also blitzing because they can't imagine thinking either. And by the way, this just looks like a potty break over here where black was like, we'll see what happened on that move, but that just looks like a potty break, you know? Weird. Just knight c3, boss. Yeah. They're not thinking. You're doing fine. Oh, and they went to the potty and they're like, I'm done. I'm done. I got some gastrointestinal issues right now, buddy, and I can't be bothered. Oh, buddy. All right. By the way, this is, I would say to Jack, look, you are not the only person to have this debilitation. We saw it with Angry Orange earlier, and this is an extreme example. And the good news, Jack, is you've gotten up to 1500 without having to slow down. That just means your room for chess growth is there, and all you have to do is slow down. That's it. That's all we're talking about. Okay, Desnak says, playing 90-30 in the amateur regional has definitely boosted my chess. Analyzing afterwards has made me connect all the dots. Fantastic. It's preaching to the choir. So, let's take a look at Desnak. Graduated a couple times. 1404. Look at that rating graph, my friends. Look at that rating graph. Got a FIDE. That was the FIDE boost they got right there. That's some dojo work right there. Okay, clubs, European activity. We'll go back one. 110 hours, though. 110 hours. That's some real stuff. And I say at every graduate show, the higher you get, the more work it's going to take. It's more competitive when you get up here. Non-dojo, what are they doing? How are they cheating on us? They got a class? That's nice. Okay. And let's just click around it. Tactics. Oh, I like they did all the Polgar mates in 2. And then middle game strategy. Looks like we need a little work there. Need a little work. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if we get a game. So this is Desnak, playing fairly recently. Fine. Knight f6 seems a little frisky because of e5. Now I think they need to play d5 here. d6. All right, passive. Apparently it is all theory. I had the idea from other lines of the close. By the way, when we say theory, you know, what's happened? Black has surrendered the center. So I don't know if we get to say that we get to call it theory. When you trade, okay, it's important to see that you are giving up a tempo when you do so. Because look, you make a bishop move, and then when you make another move, their recapture is a developing move, right? And that's a big deal. Also, since we have a space advantage, we'd rather not trade if we didn't have to. However, your position's still amazing. Okay. I'm actually okay with h3. In fact, I didn't even want to say it because I didn't want people to think that I'm okay with sometimes losing a tempo. But h3 here isn't the dumbest move either. And the point is that we are playing for space. And by denying this, we are denying play against our d4 pawn. So we're going to try to say we're scrunching black into a little ball with this. And later, my king might need that for a little Luft square. Okay, so h3. Weird. Simple and strong. Good. Fine. Fine. Weird. Now, what I'm going to guess, by the way, is that in this position, you were like, dude, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. And that's okay. I honestly don't know entirely either. But I do like your position. For sure, I like your position. And sometimes it's hard. I don't know all the time what to do. I like it. Of all the moves, I guess I'm drawn to the move you mentioned with g4. Because what's your advantage? Your advantage is space. Is it hard to play with space? Oh, yeah, it's very hard to play with space. Very hard to play with space. Okay. Weird. Black is just giving you time. f3. I'm not sure I get it. Let's play b3, please. Ooh, we needed to play b3. Now we might have a little grief. So what I want you to see is that you killed your knight on h2, right? And you enabled the black knight to go to c4. Now I think we might be lost. Boom. Yeah, that's typical business. I'm assuming we're toast here. Maybe it's not too bad. Some weird stuff goes down now. So, first of all, rook c3 looks the most interesting. Bishop e1 is met by rook c1, so you don't have to worry about that. That's my only concern. We say check to the miserable king. Knight f1. And now the question is, can we get at him? Can we get at him? Maybe rook a1. This would be a variation to consider. Queen c3. He lets you in with a rook. Your knight actually does something. Hallelujah. Oh, look at that ugly knight. Oh, what has he done? You guys are the ugly knights, dude. Oh, it's the club of the ugly knights. Should beginners play King's Gambit? No, they shouldn't even know the name of the word King's Gambit. So, rook b2, I don't like it. If you can take that pawn, you should take the pawn. The problem, though, is the pawn on d4, right? That's the problem. So notice that you just fell back into a full passive position. He plays a5. Now, what black should really, really, really be doing is fixing that stupid knight. Do they fix it this move? No. Well, maybe they're going to fix it. Good. Do they fix it this move? Kind of. Not really, though. Where's that knight going, boss? Where's that thing going, man? Okay. Okay. They're trying. They're trying real hard to fix that knight. We shuffled the pieces. I could not move, and black could have been improving its position. Opponent offered a draw. Yeah, I think you are lost. You should take it. Yeah. And after d5, what's the move? Back to f7. Ah, he gets the e5 square, and we're hosed. All that. Oh, not knight f7. You're hanging the rook, Kraai. You can go the other way, though. As long as the knight does anything, he is winning. Okay. So, by the way, I think playing for space is a hard thing to learn, and for GMs too. It's a very hard thing to do. But when you get this position, that's your advantage here. You have an advantage in space, right? So you want to scrunch him into ball. Don't let him trade. Make him hurt. Is he reading YT chat or TikTok? I'm not reading TikTok. I have this special thing where I can read YT chat, and it's magical. It's the first time to do it. YT and Twitch chat. Okay. So, because he was terrified. That's why he was thinking about a draw. Next up, we got a couple to go here, but I'm going to be okay. Our stream, by the way, our big stream today is 2:45. We're doing the candidate stream. Next up, we got Andy. I can't immediately think of a good mechanism to do it, but a better way to encourage sparring would be great. I guess the calendar was an attempt at that, but I think people seem reluctant to use it. The Chess Dojo is awesome, though. Yeah, I think the sparring is one of the, I would say the social aspects of the program. Sparring, getting together, there's so many different ways in which people can get together and figuring out how they get together. It's gotten a lot better, but yes, the sparring needs to be improved. We have some ideas for Dojo 3.0. Andy has graduated numerous amounts of times. Let's check Andy out. So, 1392. Maybe hit it and then fell back down or something like that. Graduated a number of times. Clubs. UK Dojo. We got a lot of people in the UK today. Activity. We're going to go back one. Okay. So it's kind of easy for Andy this time around. Just 19 hours of work. End game, just a touch of middle game. The middle game strategy, that's where you're going to learn strategy. You're going to learn, to read some classic books. Yeah. Tactics, we got a touch. Just a touch of the Polgar. We got some mates over here. Definitely need some more. All right, Andy, let's see what's going on over here. So, Eggsy. I don't really know the Yobava lines, but keep doing them anyway. This should be a candidate for the opening reviews. Okay. Now you're kind of at a spot where, yes, you can do some opening work. I want to stress the Yobava is really hard for people to learn and understand because the plans can often be very paradoxical. But you are developing your pieces, and that's the only thing I really care about at this point. Fine, good. By the way, so for example, they got all kinds, the people who love this stuff, they do all kinds of crazy things. I think they even play like H4 and other madness here. And you're just going to play it conservatively, which is fine. But the thing that we need to understand is when you play Yobava London with the knight over here, you're blocking the c-pawn's influence in the center, either with c3 or c4. And the knight is truly a chump sitting over there. Okay, c4, controversial move. Controversial move. Knight e5, good. We need a plan, and now you have a plan. Now, you definitely, though, should take back with the pawn. Okay? With the pawn, first thing I want you to see about taking with the pawn is that you are dislocating the knight from the center and gaining a tempo, right? When you play bishop takes, you don't get any of that. And you're losing a lot of the whole advantage you were kind of seeking out of knight e5. Remember, knight e5 costs you a full tempo. DE would give you that tempo back. I don't think knight g8's a good move, but you have that in your notes, so let's put it there. Here you have a number of moves that we can think about. We could try to relocate the knight here. We could play for e4 at some point. You know, we got moves. We got moves. e4 could happen with queen d2, rook a d1 first, for example, centralizing our business. Black is down in time. They don't got no time. They don't got any time. Probably the better move is knight d7, but then you could play e4 directly. Challenging his business. Okay, now you need a plan. b3, controversial. The reason it's controversial is he could have done the business to you here with b4. His move might be fine too. He's saying, all right, I'll take that development. Ah, it's ugly. Now, let me stress. This comes as a result of you not knowing what to do with the c-pawn, right? So it's partly a result of this weird opening. And then you get encouraged to do something weird, and you're playing on black side of the board now, and he now whacks you with a tempo, and then your knight goes back home. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes it. So in this position, other moves could be bishop f3, right? Intending maybe e4. Yeah, okay. Ugh, makes me wince. Oh, and he wants to end our knight. Is this true, though? This looks like a fail. a3. Looks like he lost a pawn, buddy. Thank you very much. Thank you. You're just up a clean pawn. Okay. Bishop d3. Maybe. The move I would want to say is queen d4, which you have. And it's just, look at your dark square control. Fantastic. You know? Queen can't really be molested there. And you can play maybe this next. And maybe we'll even someday bring the knight to d4. Okay, I like that move. I'm okay with that. Let's play knight e2. Nice. Let's play knight d4. Nice. And now, we got a couple options. You snip. Now, maybe, but he should definitely play d takes c4. No, not even a question for Mr. Question or anything like that. Okay? He's got to free the dog. The Dow, ow, 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 wants to come loose. That's why I would be hesitant to take that knight over there. So now you want to trade everything out. He should play king b8 and hope that you take. Okay, so one of the things I want to stress is, at this level, a lot of times players don't understand that they need to fix their bad piece. So he's worried about something about his queen or something like that. It's one goal. He's got one goal as black is, how do I free the Dow? That's it. There's no other goal for black. Good. Now you got a number of good moves. Queen d3. I liked a4 very much. Yep. Queen d4, though. You're playing the dark squares. Fine. You're being a real lame-o. But you know what? This is the kind of lame-o stuff that I can maybe get behind. You know? Okay. This was inaccurate. You needed to play c3 so that you just need to be ready to meet bishop moves with knight c5. Notice that you are completely strategically winning now because the bishop is so terrible. Now we got some grief. Yep, he does this. Maybe we're still winning, but he can mess with us now with snip, snop, and rook c3. So now the game's a little complicated because he got a touch. And now he's got another touch. Looks like a mistake. King takes is more active. He's just moving around. Do we have times in this game? We do. So, look, you guys are barely moving. We see this mistake all the time. People don't understand that there's things to think about in the end game. There's all kinds of things. It's very concrete. He could be, what should black be achieving? They should be achieving king a5, not here because of knight b3, but in general, we want to get b4 activated so our bishop can talk. This whole time, black has not been sensitive to the fact that the bishop needs to talk, and now he's just blundering a pawn, or it looks like blundering a pawn. Might not be a real pawn, though. Did you play it quick? Yeah, you played it without thinking at all. So what I want you to see is whenever you're going to win something, first we're going to talk about the slowing down, but whenever your opponent, boss, gives you something that's a winning position, well, bud, it's time to think about it a little bit. And was it terrible that they let you do this? Yeah, because now he has to babysit the pawn. That was awful, you know. Okay, so bummer. Check to the miserable king. Now we're toast, and you resign. Okay. Well, Eggsy, there it is. Knight c5 was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. Okay. The YOLO Bava. That's right. All right, we're getting up there in the cohorts. Natsumeyer here. Let's go take a look. Southern U.S. based chess player, 10 years of OTB. Hoping to go from 14-something to 1700. Got up to 1549 and got it the real way, which is OTB over here. So really pumped on Natsumeyer. Maybe there's going to be a Southern Comfort Club. Let's see. No, Natsumeyer, we need a Southern Comfort Chess Club down there. All right. So activity. Some good work. All right. And let's see if we got a game. So this is going to be against a national master. Let's take a look. Uh-oh. So we'll take a look at this one. First, we got a time graph. Let's see. No, we don't have a time graph. Oh, and Kraai, I've been really blowing it. I'm supposed to be marking these games as review. Did I do it? No, I didn't do it. Kraai, you chump. I have to go back and deal with that. So far, so good. Now, bishop d7 is a known mistake. And the reason is precisely this dc, bishop c5. You're not lost or anything. It's just a poor position. So cd and then bishop d7 is generally what we do. So white knows about this. Castles, good move. And now you got to lose a tempo because like knight e7, you're going to lose it to b4. Good move. Probably okay. Good move. Good. a5. Now a5 here, like if you were preventing knight d4, it would make sense. Like if you're intending a5, a4, but he just goes here, so we've lost time. Now you give him your beautiful bishop. And here in this position, you're strategically lost. And you write, I assume bishop b1, keeping control of the light squares. After that, I am not sure how black proceeds. I assume the evaluation at this point is in white's favor. And he guesses 0.8. Yeah. Let me just talk about what strategically lost means. So you gave up your dark square bishop. There is, let's call it uncertain play on the queen side. And white is even better developed, right? If you wanted to, we could talk about maybe what white feared. Like white might have feared rook c8. And then I think maybe an interesting variation even would be like h4, knight c2, snap, snook, and either h5 or bishop d2. Or white could be more ambitious and play a move like bishop d2 or e3 after rook c8. Excuse me. Excuse me. So bishop b1, rook c8, maybe one of these two moves, intending knight c1, rook c1. A little hot still, right? So sometimes in the French, we can do things like this. My gut is though this is not going to work simply because your pieces aren't dynamic. You know, you don't have dynamic juice. He takes a terrible move. And now I'm going to show you a great French trick. Take back this way. Oh, it's glorious, too. This is a known French trick. And the point is, it's very hard for white to actually get at this pawn. And we are going to develop our rook in one move. And even later, if we want to, we can construct h6, g5. And that'll sometimes give us an avenue for this bishop with very dynamic and nice play. That's something, though, you got to know about before you feel comfortable playing FG. Okay. So, HG. Okay, we should try to trade off queens if we can. He goes here. Looking good. Bishop b5. Why can't we play knight takes b2? Is it queen b1? This is making me nervous here. b3. He evicts your knight. King h1, weird. Probably g3 is the big question. That's a weird move. Queen e7. Doesn't do anything. Ooh, let's just say that's very ambitious from white. White is not feeling the danger, my friend. That's got to be it. That's got to be it. That's got to be it. And now are they getting mated? We should guess that they're getting mated. All right, this is under 5 minutes and plays bishop d3. And we lose our mind with bishop d3. Yeah, queen h4. It's over. It's game over. Game over. Yeah. So one of the things, actually, there's a couple things I want to say about learning how to play openings, right? So, for example, let's say you want to be a French player. Fine. You can play any opening you want. But there'll be things that you'll learn, like the f takes g6 trick that I just taught you, the fact that this is the wrong move order. And also, you're going to play players who don't really appreciate the fact that they want to hurt you on this side of the board. Their pawns are pointing this way. They need to hurt you over here. And so they'll do things like bishop g6. No comprende of the game-o, you know? They don't get it. And why? Because they're terrified of other, your knight, your little wandering knight scared them to death, you know? All right. So that's what, and especially where you are, Natsumeyer, is this is like learning openings is going to be less about memorizing and more just getting a feel for these kinds of structures. Okay, good. Next up, we have Sam Turley. And let's give a click. Sam has already graduated once. And English Chess Federation. Boom. Nice. All the way up to 1935. Well, Sam, buddy, I think you're in the wrong cohort, bud. I think you're in the wrong cohort. All right, but maybe you felt that ECF was overrated and you wanted to just average it out. I can have some sympathy for that. Clubs. Adult Improver. Join that English one, bud. Activity. We're going to go back one. Lots of work being done here. Maybe not any games. We're going to see. Tactics. Looking good. Winning chess tactics, the main thing. Sorry, hit the wrong thing. End games. Nice. And middle game strategy. Okay. Let's look at the games. No game. Sam! Buddy, give us a game. Give us a game, Sam. All right. For our final, we have Jay Grassi going up to 17-18. Big achievement. I have done a horrible job tracking my time since I started school again. However, I have kept a relatively straight routine that consists of 2 online 60-30 Elite Chess games, 1 75-30, 30-minute postmortem with the club members, and my opponent's immediate ideas. 33-ish hours of analysis on each game, and the remainder of my time on chess tactics from scratch and Elite Chess Puzzle. There we go. I went quite hard on endgames and openings over Christmas break, and I feel both aspects are far beyond the typical 1600-1700 cohort graduate. Completed all of Simple Chess and Reassess Your Chess in the early parts of my semester when the workload was lighter. Placed second New Hampshire State Scholastic Championship. Here we go, buddy. Going 3.5 out of 4, with my only draw coming against the third place score and the player who placed first having a cupcake schedule. Or his opponents routinely hung more than just their coconuts. Regardless, the book recommendations from the dojo have been fantastic, and I'd appreciate feedback on the one game I posted. Okay, sounds good. Friend of the dojo, GM Josh Friedel, best player as far as I know in New Hampshire state history. So that's kind of cool that you are following in his footsteps over there. Yeah, and I'm totally pumped, especially on Scholastic players. I want them in here doing exactly what Jay Grassi is doing. Senior in high school. Looking to break 2K USCF before the end of 2024. Okay. Okay, there we go. And Steinitz says, I have never in my life played the French defense, which is the dullest of all openings. Now, let me just say about Steinitz, this is interesting, in that time, is e4, e6, d4, d5, they thought at that time that the correct move was ed. And if you're playing the French and all your opponents are playing ed, then it might feel a little dull. Might feel a little dull. Okay. So, oh, Jay Grassi, I'm pumped. Let's take a look. You graduated so many times, boss. So many times. And all these graphs are looking great. Right. And that's probably your most recent bump from this New Hampshire Scholastics. So this is looking great, man. I would recommend that this is a very audacious goal for 2K by the end of the year. But in service of that goal and just your chess in general, I would say make this your preferred metric, the USCF. And I know maybe in New Hampshire might not be super simple to get to tournaments, especially maybe if you're not close to the Boston. If, I don't know, in New Hampshire, there's like different parts, but if you're in that Manchester area or close to Boston, maybe, maybe you get more opportunities. Okay, let's take a look. Clubs, New England Dojo. Nice. Sicilian sparring. Someone's calling for me from Texas. I have no desire to answer that phone. Oh, maybe it was Jack Stingline. Oh, I better check the Discord. Someone's yelling at me, man. So far, it looks okay. Okay, so nobody's yelling at me. That's all I need really to know, right? So, back. Kraai, get it together. Pull it together. You can do it. And activity, we're going to back it up 1. And dude is not doing, it's going, like he said, actually, he's going heavy on the end game. Did the REP match. That's what we want to see. Nice. I'm revamping that so it's a little bit more user-friendly. Revamping for 3.0, which is hopefully going to come out beginning of the month. Okay. So, and then also some openings. All right. Games. We got 1 game. And, okay, so this is the New Hampshire. And, yeah, it's a real bummer. Like a lot of players will be underrated. This dude's 900, but 1,900 online. All right, here we go. So far, so good. Fine. Okay. Weird. A proactive move to ensure I keep my light square bishop. You know that I want you to castle. Right? You know it. Little funky. And is it a blunder? Knight g5. Looks like a blunder. Yeah. Bishop e6. You could take both ways. Let's see what you say about it. About this position, you say, while white is up a pawn with the bishop pair, I rejected this idea as black got to keep his dark square bishop. And in my head, the calculation was blurry as far as what to do after. Yeah. Now, just optically, I would rather do this one because your bishop is a god. Well, even if you put him on this diagonal, also still a god, right? A light square control, so amazing. Now, are you still crushing him in this position? I guess so, but notice what you did here. What you kind of saying is, I'm so pumped to disallow castling that I'm going to take this bishop. It's kind of a chump bishop anyway. Now, are you still doing great? Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Now, that's a weird move, right? Wasting a tempo. Good annotations. And so what are the moves? It's either going to be bishop g5 or castle short. Both of these, you're doing great. I like bishop g5 best, personally. Maybe talk about why you did it. I'm sure you had some reason to do it. Here you change your mind and go back. Okay. It's a strong person. It's a strong person who can go back on their decision. 97, a weird move. Right? No, they shouldn't be playing for d5. That being said, it's not totally simple what they should do. Personally, maybe I would play for this and knight h5 if I was black. It's a bad position, even though you lost the full tempo. Weird. Queen e2. So what I'm feeling is you're obsessed with castling long. I don't know why, right? I don't know why. Here you lost another tempo. No bueno. Laziness and calculation made me not want to calculate any knight g4 jumps. And you talk about castles. Black's kingside attack is a lot less scary than I initially believed. Okay, good. So what we're getting at is kind of what I guessed, which is that you were terrified of black messing with you on the king side. Right? But your king is totally safe. Okay, h3. Yeah, you're obsessed. And now knight h5, maybe a touch of counterplay. d5. Okay. Now, in general, I wasn't so pumped for black to do this, but you've wasted so much time that I am getting a little nervous. Castles. Okay, I'm okay with that. D4. The bummer for black is, you know, D4 might look okay, but really now he's closed the position down. Knight C6. I think the only move to mess with you was Queen E6. Yeah, so at least you have to worry about that. Knight C6, you fix your piece. Good. Rook E6, I don't get it. Knight B3. Not a huge fan of Knight B3 because they can just play B6 here. But they blunder. F4 was also good. That doesn't make any sense. He's just launching it. Right? What are you doing, buddy? Good move. Doesn't make any sense. AB. Yeah. A4 would be the traditional response. I mean, it's just a bad move that the guy's doing. But you are crushing him here. You are crushing him. And this one breaks my heart a little bit, but your position is so good. It breaks my heart because we're you know, setting him free from this nasty pin, right? I like Queen F2 better. A5, weird move. At least try C5. Okay. Poor, good. Now you're just going to simplify. My opponent verbally said arg. Yep. Oh, he got the trade on the queen. He's got to play Queen F8. That's called the trade out right there. Yeah, good move. Good. Okay, C3 is also fine. Good. King E3, good. D4, good. Takes. Knight B4, he's just messing around. Knight C3, you could do other things. E5, I like E5. You got him here. A little bit of a form break, let's say. Let's run it. Let's run. Let's run. Run, Forrest, run. There it is. Good job. Okay. I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to come back, and we're going to do some game review that were submitted. But this has been the Graduate Show, and I will be right back. Chess Dojo training program was built around 3 principles. The first is that to improve at anything, you need a structure and a plan to follow, something you can trust. And so at the dojo, we have material, whether you're an absolute beginner or you're a grandmaster, we have the appropriate material to get you to the next level. The second principle is something that also can be used to learn anything, and that's called the principle of plus minus equal, that you need somebody above you, an equal, and somebody below you. And in terms of the dojo, what that means is above you, you will have the senseis and other higher rated players who will give you insight and critique maybe on your games. But at a deeper level, the program itself is the plus that you have to give some measure of authority to follow the program. Your equal is your cohort. These are the people with whom you are going to spar out positions, you're going to discuss books, you're going to play against, you're going to have postmortems. It's a very rich community. And then finally, and this is very important, you need a minus, and this is somebody to whom you can explain your ideas. And only when you can explain your ideas to somebody who doesn't get them yet, have you truly understood those ideas yourself. The third principle is very chess specific, and that is really a Soviet Botvinnik principle, and that you have to go over your games in order to. All right, my friends, we're back, and I'm going to take a look at some of these games that were submitted. This were part of we did a promotion where we were like, Baus, if you get into the dojo now, we'll look at one of your games. So we have a bunch of players that did that. And oh, Kraai, you're just not remembering to hit the mark that's reviewed. This one already looks like it was reviewed. Wait a second, that must be the wrong one. First of all, though, I'm going to mark this one as reviewed. I got to be marking these as reviewed, Baus. Come on now. Come on now. This is the one. Boom. this the one? Here. That one says it's already reviewed, so I don't understand that one. Let's do the next one. Boom. And so we'll go with this one. And we'll bring it over. Central London Chess Congress, first round, November 22. One of my favorite tournaments. Okay. That's a funny note. We're going to mark it as reviewed. We'll just take a look. Is there time? Nope. And we'll just say it looks like a +30 event in London. Very nice. Okay, this is some strong opponents. Let's see how it goes down. All right. Wait, Kraai. Wait. Fine. 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 Boom. 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 I've actually had this position myself as white. Great. This is a fun position. I've had this bad boy myself. Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit the dynamic. We obviously have a weak pawn, but black has a bad bishop, and our pawn can become a strength because, first of all, it's dominating the knight on c3. And also, when we play a move like knight fd4, it's a little support stone for our pieces. I was watching the Hikaru Naka's recap from his game yesterday. He's using words like bash. That's a new word for outposts I'd never heard before, dude. I'd heard about the wooden shield. The wooden shield's the only one that's really going to stick with me. So, bishop e7. We got a comment, the Evans feels American. That was Captain Evans, though. That was a British dude. Knight fd4, great move. And your opponent, let's say, gives up on life and plays takes. Now you're just doing great. GM Srinath, white has improved his pawn structure with this move and has a strong center now. The downside is that the d-file is closed and the dynamics of the position have changed. However, I feel the pros outweigh the cons. Yeah, you're doing great. Okay, so black has a hard choice here. I don't know exactly what they should do. They played knight d5. Yeah, and so you already got this game reviewed, buddy. So, yeah, this is an interesting moment. And you played e4. Oh, I see. It's from a Catalan course. Got it. I thought maybe he was like a coach or something like that. So, all right. You played e4. Now, let me just say about e4. It can't be terrible. But the thing to see is, in the Catalan, in general, we don't want to block it. And so, you know, we just got to be wary of it. So maybe f5 is their idea, but that has its own consequences too. The easy lifestyle would be bishop d2 and then move your rook over, right? Okay, so e4, here, here, here. And Svidler plays king f1. You know, we got to have sympathy for king f1, though. I get it. We're going to have to deal with the b6. But our king on h1 is also no happy piece. And this is pushing their luck to play bishop d7. Because how is the knight going to get out, Bowers? How is the knight going to get out, buddy? And you talk about b6. And then the default should be this one for him. And then to evaluate how bad or not this is. It's an interesting question. Yeah, it's an interesting question. How bad is it? Looks there's some badness. There's some question marks. Yeah. Okay. Bishop d7. That's got to be a good move. They go here immediately. We talk to the knight. Rook fd8. And now you play d5, taking away the escape square and preparing to capture the knight with bishop f1. Okay, this is spicy. Oh yeah, this is super spicy. Okay, d5. Whew. E d5. Bishop f1. Now, I just want to say, this would definitely be a moment to just do maybe a couple more variations here. Because if he's toast, he's toast. Okay, so bishop f6. And now d4. Okay, I have just one question. I think it's only one question. We need a variation on knight d4. I'm assuming, though, that knight takes d4, bishop f1, e5 was your intention. And then on bishop takes d4, we can take with the rook or the bishop and then get this kind of thing, which also looks amazing. So d4, snip, d3, bishop d1, rook ac8. I was happy with this endgame. I can prevent the rook from having any entry squares, slowly improve my pieces. I want to restrict black's bishop with my pawns. By the way, I think, yeah, this is, you know, you've played a GM level game here, my friend. You know, we're looking at, you know, king h1 rather than king f1. Like, to play the anti-intuitive move, first of all, to deny b6 is really interesting. And then you got this great variation here. Holy moly. That's some real sauce, buddy. That's some real sauce. Wow. I find these positions fascinating. I'm probably the only one. I think this is very hard to evaluate, personally. And it will come down to a question of initiative and if you can somehow avoid trading rooks. If you trade rooks, then I gotta believe in black, you know? So obviously a default move for him could be rook c8, but he's got loads of other moves here. It's going to become concrete, and it's hard. Yeah, I don't know. You might be right that you're better. This would be a fun one to analyze, I think. And ultimately, like when you think about best play in an opening, which this might be, this is the kind of really fascinating thing you sometimes get. So this has been a great game, and then we got up to this point. I consider this winning for you. Maybe that's too strong, but the reason is that, in my experience, the two bishops against the rook are just too powerful. And your king will soon get out there. Yeah, so let's see how it goes. Good. Okay, I was hoping you would play bishop e3. It's a little bit more highfalutin because we're worried, I'm sure you were worried about d2. You're going to have to be worried about d2 anyway, though. And here I just want to keep that beautiful bishop. Here we go. Well, don't we have to analyze d2? It's kind of hot here, so I think, oh yeah, though this is hot. This is hot. I don't know. Did we blow it? I don't know, my friends. This looks really hot. Our king doesn't have a great square. Because so if king f2, rook c1, knight d2 could be our trick, then rook d2 comes with check. Oh, no. And then king f1, rook c1, knight d2. We play rook b1, knight b1, rook d1, and the whole coconuts fall. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Anders. We might have blown it. Someone's saying rook c1, knight c1. Kraai, did you just blunder that? Oh, maybe I'm just blundering it all, buddy. Thank you, bouncing across. It's been a long day. King f2. He just takes you, boss. Take it easy. No, Kraai, you can't be playing just like that. Okay, I take it all back. Jeez, I didn't even see the obvious, buddy. All right, so now I think you're winning. Nota bene, your king is active and your opponent's is not. And this looks really terrible for them. Good move. Risky square for the rook. I don't know what they're supposed to do, though, at this point, right? Knight b1 is a hell of a drug. So good move. And now it's just crispy critters. Okay. That was a really well-played game. Yeah. And one thing I've gotten actually from my own game analysis is just through playing games, I've gotten a number of positions that look like this. And I spent some time analyzing them. And I realized afterwards it was a huge bonus for my game in that, to my eyes, like, I can actually guarantee if you have this in a real game, both sides will make mistakes. And it's going to be a question of who plays better at this stage. But also, Black needs to understand that they have every opportunity to win this bad boy. This one, you know, he's got some opportunities here. And I think I'd rather be Black. I don't know what the computer would say, but I'm pretty sure I'd rather be Black in this situation. Okay, good. That was a really good game. So let's do another one. And this is going to be, I got to go back and hit mark reviewed on all those things, like, because I'm an idiot. This, I believe, is Extirpo. We're going to bring Extirpo over. I'm going to mark as reviewed before I forget. Have had the Caro-Kann as e4 response for some time. However, ultimately not happy with the play obtained, so I've recently changed to the Sicilian to get more dynamics. Okay. I got bullied into it. My friend told me when I was a kid, he was like, I pushed it one pawn. He's like, be a man, push it one further. I should have just stuck with it, you know. Okay. Boom. All right. Boom. Boom. You're doing fine. Good. Queen d2, rook c8. Playing generic Sicilian. By the way, at this level, you're going to get everybody playing generic Sicilian. That is what's going to happen. Okay, now is white better? I don't know. I don't know. Interesting question. So, let's look at some of these variations that you did. You talked about bishop d5. That's a really interesting variation with bishop g7, king g7, queen d5. Bishop a7, knight f4. Honestly, that feels a little computery to me, the knight f4 move here. But okay. That is the kind of thing you want to look for. Now, one thing that you should feel funny about with rook e8 is rook e8 doesn't actually do anything. And white is like sitting on you here, and we do need to resolve our situation, right? So we should definitely consider, for example, sacking the a-pawn. There's a couple ways of doing it. We could sack it like this, and if they take it, they're insane. Or we play knight b8 directly, right? And then I don't know if it's an advantage, but the thing we have going for us now is, let's say they take. In addition to bishop takes, we have this option for us, which is also interesting. And then we can play for a later f5. We can also play for bishop g5 at some point. In fact, here it's already kind of a cool looking move, bishop g5, right? There's grief for the white pieces. So rook e8, you should feel, this has nothing to do with the Sicilian, just feel like, oh, that is not it. White has a lot of different moves. What does he do? Castles. h6 again. I do what old men do best. Wait, I like that comment. All right, f4, terrible move. Not a good move. Very important to see that this is a terrible move. Okay, the pawn on f3 is dominating the knight. Okay, so the knight can't do anything. And the other thing to see is you are in a bind here. And so the simplest move for white to play would just be c4 and say, buddy, I'm going to put you under the lockdown, the ye old famous lockdown. It's hard for players to play that way, especially under 2100, 2200, right? So first of all, we got to talk about what's wrong with knight e4. The other thing as a Sicilian player you should understand is even if knight e4 weren't possible, the thing that's happening here is you have access to the e5 square. And once you get access to that square, it's very hard for them to actually crack you. So bishop f8. And I think you just trusted your opponent. I did a video on this a while back where I'm like, because I trust my opponents too. And I'm like, oh, you know, they must be really smart. They must be really smart. Now, even on fe5, maybe it's, you still have this move, boss. You still have this move. What are we doing? The coconut is hanging. We got ourselves a case of this is called the case of the hanging coconut. He was using bastion. He was calling it bash. I think it was bash for bastion. I don't think that one's going to stick. I think he's just messing around. Yeah. All right, so bishop f8. You're still doing fine. You're just missing this basic tactic over here. Your opponent is too. Now, I feel like I'm losing my mind because like that pawn on e4 is hanging so often. I just don't understand why we can't take it. It would free up our rook too. Our rook wants that e-file. Okay, we finally took that thing. Great. Queen f2. I don't think white's got nothing. And here we can play for our knight e5. Let's hope you did it. Knight e5, nice move. Bishop h6, blunder, boom. Welcome to the dojo. Okay, you're doing great. Just one move trick. Ooh, goodbye. Okay, that was really well done. To sum up, black mishandled the Sicilian defense and was soon tied down. I want you to see, boss, that pawn was hanging forever. Now, I blundered the last analysis and I just missed rook c1, knight c1. And maybe I'm blundering something there too, but to me it looked like, hey, buddy, that f4 was a miserable move and you trusted him and he trusted himself and I don't know what was going down. Okay, so should we do one more? Let's do one more, boss. So I believe that was extirpo. Oh, and here we have the famous Laro Monet. Laro Monet is so we had this deal that I thought was going to take off. I thought a bunch of people were going to do this. I'm really into the idea of not just the clubs, but having teams track their entire team's progress on the scoreboard. Now, in America, really, we just have scholastic teams. In Europe, they got these really cool teams that will play. And, you know, and Lara Monet is one of these people, plays in Wales. I'm probably saying his name wrong. And they got this club called the White Knights. Anyways, I pushed for this within the dojo. People were like, Kraai, I don't know. Anyways, I pushed for it that we would give a discount for clubs, teams starting out, because I just am so pumped on the idea Unfortunately, not that many people took us up on the offer, but the White Knights did, and so they got a team. And we'll maybe look at their team in a second. Anyways, I think it's such a cool idea to have the teams there, because then you can see what your teammates are doing. You can track each other's progress, and then of course you can do the sparring in real life. So you're just boom, boom, boom. Like for example, we had a coach in high school and basically just let us play blitz in his homeroom at lunch. That's all it was. But if that dude, who was very well-meaning, had the training program, you'd just be like, okay, boys, it's time to do these sparrings right here. It's time to do this. It's time to do that. Instead, it was just unstructured. So you don't have to be some genius coach. Then you just need the training program. And you just facilitate it. That's all you got to do if you're the coach. Okay, here we go. E4. A little awkward, right? So white has lost time. And you play E6. Okay, I think E6 is probably fine. An ambitious attempt here would be knight H6 so that we could play bishop F5 or G4 to bring our bad bishop out. So now we're playing a French structure. It's okay. And then A6, you talk about knight B4. That's a computer-generated move. Do you need to play A6? No, you do not. So just a basic French move here would be knight E7. You're losing some time. And now you lose more time. So you talk about knight H6, queen G3, and the rest. I think that for me, the main question is, should you play F6? It's a dangerous move, but at least you're getting your coconuts out. If you don't do that one, then I think you should be playing knight E7, G6. So notice, you're falling behind in development. Okay, good move. Probably unnecessary. Good move. Bishop F4. Bishop G5 looks good. And you say that was what you were concerned about. Correct. Bishop D7. A3. Weird. So this is the moment where your opponent in the last two moves has drifted, right? Because Bishop F4 looks natural, but then they didn't know what they were going to do afterwards. Bishop G5 has a lot more ideas. And then they were just like, dude, I have no idea what to do. And then they gave you this time. Castles. King H2, again, they're clueless. They don't know what to do. B5, okay. Queen G5, no one understands. No one gets it. Queen D8, do I understand that move? It feels like you're afraid of something, but you don't know what it is. I don't know what it is either over there. All right, then you come up with this. Now you're taking control. Good. Bishop E3, no one knows what it was. He gives you it. You say thank you very much. You say thank you very much, and now you're doing pretty good. He's got to babysit the E5 pawn. Rook FC8, good. B4, maybe. Maybe. A5, I like it, I think. We got to calculate knight takes B5, though. Okay. Passive. Good move. Now, Laura Monet, I just want to say Bishop F8 was a good move. We could do a little bit longer with the times. Do we have the time chart? When you enter the times like this, by the way, this is a really cool thing about the site, is you put the times in, like you're putting the times in as a note, but you put it in here when there's a place to put it when you're putting in your game, place to put in the times, and then we get to see as a whole graph. So like when you say 938, it sounds like, I don't know what it is, but if we had the graph, like I don't know if that's 9 minutes or 9 seconds or what, we would see how much time you have left and how much time you used. Knight B5. And we got to talk about our options here, because knight C2 definitely wins a pawn. Right? I get it. You're afraid of knight D6. But it's not over there. It goes knight C2 and then knight D6, maybe rook C2, rook C7. You got other moves too. And now this is actually kind of a scary situation. Bishop a6 definitely. It's a scary situation because all of a sudden the white knight can dance all over your dark squares. And definitely rook b7 is a good move here. I think you're actually now in trouble. You went from having a great position to now drifting to trouble. King g3, I don't like it. I think rook a4 would really give you the business. Okay. Rook b6. Okay. King h4. I don't understand king h4. I don't understand f3. I don't get it. Now we're messing with him some. Okay. Good. Rook c6. Yeah, the problem is you exchange rooks. His knight is so strong. We got grief. You know, we got grief. ChessComp community is rating with a party of 93. Thank you so much. We're going to be wrapping up soon, ChessComp community. However, we're going to be back in a touch. It's 2:45 to do our famous, no engine, no BS dojo stream of the candidates. So rook a4, g4, frisky. Notice what's happening here is dude is opening the position for your bishop. We want our pawns off those light squares. That's been our whole problem. So you talk about f4. Really interesting question of just what white should do to you. And I think actually a very simple and strong move here, right, would be rook c8, intending rook here. And then what's going to happen is we're going to win this coconut and push your king back. And then you can really feel the dark squares dying. So this is another example of your opponent who is losing the thread. It's at least a good try. No one understands rook b6. I don't. That's a mate threat. That's a good move. You could also do rook f2. Okay. Bang. Well, that's a piece. That's a win. One of the things we preach at the Chess Dojo is play for mate. Bishop. Wait, that's not mate, buddy. I do want you to mate him here somehow, though. How are we going to mate him, Bows? How is it done? Oh, I know. I want you to play rook here. Takes, and then I don't know. Maybe that's too fancy, Kraai. You know, maybe that's too fancy. He's doing fine the way he's doing it, okay? Just leave him alone. Now, we did some bad checks. Okay, yeah. So this is bad form, and this is the kind of endgame we want to win. We need to win 100% of the time. So we just start here. You're totally crushing him. And what's the simple way? Probably, he is getting a little bit of touch, you know? So bishop e4, c4. Rook c2 doesn't do anything. So this is the beginning of the drift. We need to prevent some kind of rook f6 and then g6. So we have the rook a3 idea, but that's highfalutin. If we just want to keep it easy for ourselves, we're going to want a move like rook e2 so that when we recapture, we're touching the coconut. And he does a nice thing here. Trades off some stuff. And here you are still definitely winning, but it's not super, super simple. This move is still nice. This move is even cleaner, though. And very simple. We're going to advance this pawn to d3. You know, we can do it. And because of rook d2, and we're winning. Okay, and here's a great example, too, where if we had the time, it would be interesting for you and us to see what the time looked like. Were you in big time pressure? How was the time management? Okay, good game. And I think I'm going to guess this is one of your first reviews. And so you notice everyone they start, it's a little different, and you could do more, right? I want you also to see that you played some unprincipled moves in the opening, like a6 queen c7, g6. That's really where where you could have been put under a lot of stress because of those moves. Okay, let's actually go look at the white knights before we conclude this. Did I mark it as reviewed? I finally did. All right, so we go clubs, and we're gonna go creation date, descending, white knights. 7 members. There we go. And there's Lara Monet right there. See, you got a whole team. They're doing some stuff over here. You got some dojo scores. Looking pretty good. Okay, everybody. I'm going to stop this, but we are coming back shortly.